Purnima madam, date Vandaksha madam came.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir.
Did principal came?
Sir.
Principal ma'am.
ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Okay.
sir. ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಇನ್ನ 5 minutes ಇದೆ. YouTube
we'll wait for another 5.
Yeah.
We'll wait for another 5 minutes also. Let them join, ma'am.
Okay, I have connected for the YouTube live also simultaneously.
Okay.
Now already there are 65 participants.
Okay, it's good.
ಮಗ ಅದನ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ
ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಡ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಜೂಮ್ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ವೆಲಾಂಗದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೆ, ಅದು ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ತಂದೆ ಹತ್ರ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. ನಾನು
Purnima madam.
sir.
Please ask them to be quiet around you.
ನನಗೆ ವೋಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ.
sir.
ಬೇಡ.
There is a lot of disturbance in the hosting this.
sir. I'll mute myself.
Education and yoga. ಬರೀ ನೋಡ್ರಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಈಗ. ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಕಳ್ಸ್ಯಾರ್ರಿ. ಯಾವುದು ಲಿಂಕ್, ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ನಾಗ ಅದೇನೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲೇನ್ರಿ ಲಿಂಕ್. NSS ಇದು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಪೂರ್ಣಿಮಾ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಇವತ್ತ ಬಂದವ್ರಿ. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೂ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲೇನ್ರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್? ನಿಮಗೂ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲಿ.
ಸರ್ co-hosts ಗಳು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಿಕ್ಕವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್. I request all participants to mute themselves. Participants, please mute yourself.
Even from your side, if it is possible, you only can mute them, madam. Only at the time of question and answer, you can release them to talk.
Good morning, JK.
Good morning, good morning.
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್.
Good morning, sir.
ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
We will wait for another 5 minutes, sir. We will start now because sir is already waiting. We will
Okay,
wait
okay.
for another 5 minutes. Let other people also to get joined, sir.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ.
Yeah.
ಮತ್ತೇನ್ ಸರ್ ವಿಶೇಷ?
ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್ ತಾವೇ.
ತಿಂಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು?
ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ?
Can you wait for another 3 minutes, madam?
Okay, sir, sure. You tell me, sir, when to start. I'll start the session.
Okay.
June.
Purnima madam, can you hear me? Hello, Purnima madam.
ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್.
Madam, almost 100 members ಆಗೋದ್ರು. You can directly, open the YouTube link also, ma'am.
ಹಾ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್
Yeah. Because already 100 members got crossed already.
ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಅದು ಲೈವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ.
Yeah.
ನಾನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ.
ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಕೂಡ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಇದೆ. ಇರ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್, ಫೀಸ್ ನಾಳೆ ಕಟ್ಟಣ ಅಂತ ಸರ್ ಅವಾಗೆ.
Hello. ಹಲೋ.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಟೈಮ್
ಹಾ
ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್.
ರಿಸರ್ವ್
ಓಕೆ.
ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಕೂಡ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ.
ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್. ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೇಳಿದೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ. ಹಲೋ ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಲೋ.
ಹಲೋ ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನೀವು. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾ?
ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಇವಾಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್
ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು.
Okay. Good morning, one and all. GFGC Rajaji Nagar welcome all the participants for the webinar organized by the Department of Physical Education and NSS on role of yoga and physical education in making India Atmanirbhar. COVID-19 has taught us the lesson how to we have to be independent, how our physical fitness is important along with good immunity in our body. Based on this, today our college felt it's essential to have a knowledge about the role of yoga, physical and independence as survival. Dr. Vikram.
ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಓ ಕಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. I think so. Jagdish sir is not hearing us properly. Jagdish sir? Hello?
We can't hear you, Jagdish sir.
is having some network problem. I briefly introduce about you, sir, and I'll hand over the session to you, sir. Vikram, sir, is it
Yeah,
okay?
no problem. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, sir. Okay, Vikram, sir, has done DPED, MPED, MPhil, gold medalist in physical education, and he has done his master's in Preksha meditation, science of living and yoga from Jain Vishwa Bharati Institute, Rajasthan, UGC NET and JRF in physical education. Qualified SLET, Haryana and Punjab, Young Scientist Award in 2002 by Sports Psychology Association of India in Jammu. Sir, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Awardee in 2016 for the contribution to yoga. Attended more than 75 national and international conferences, webinars, and workshops in India and abroad. 73 research publication has been there from under his name, with the 13 books on fitness, yoga, and physical education. Sir has worked as a teacher, educator in SCERT Diet Delhi for 7.5 years. Presently working as a senior physical educator in JNU, New Delhi since last more than 13 years. Sir is asset to our nation as well as for our teaching fraternity as well as for the physical fitness and yoga related organization. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of college and physical education department to deliver your lecture on role of yoga and physical fitness on Atmanirbhar. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I express my gratitude to the principal of your college. My thankfulness to Dr. Purnima Ravishankar. I'm grateful to Dr. Jagdish, all the students, research scholars who are present here, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly allow me to share my PowerPoint slides. Just give me a second. Can you see my PPT slides? Is it visible? Hello? Hello?
Sir, it is visible. You can continue.
Thank you. So the topic that has been assigned to me is the role of yoga and physical education in making India Atmanirbhar. We all have studied and we all know that yoga and physical education are both part and parcel of each other. They are not actually contrary or contradicting to each other. As often we see on the social media or in meetings or in various gatherings where we are preparing the curriculum for schools or discussing about preparing a healthcare policy or a sports policy. It must be very categorically realized in all the meeting agendas that both of them are going to work together in order to make India Atmanirbhar. India Atmanirbhar means an individual who is self-reliant, an individual with the necessary skills to deliver. Right from day one, the person enters the industry. It also underlines the importance of an individual to be not only skilled, but also an important aspect of interface between how and what our teacher education institutions are doing, how they are preparing the students to meet the challenges of industry. We cannot be amateur now. We have to be professional. Now, there are certain objectives which I have framed for myself regarding today's presentation. The first objective is healthcare and fitness industry. We will look into the past, present, and the future of healthcare and fitness industry. It is also known as a medical industry, or in some countries we call it health economy as well. Basically, it is an aggregation, and it is the integration of sectors within the economic system. We are living in a certain economic system. Our economic system was something else before the lockdown, as we know that we were traveling, we were into buying things which were not even necessary. And all of a sudden we saw that after the lockdown, we are purchasing only some essential things, and we are not able to go to the gyms. We are not able to go to the parks. But still this ecosystem is surviving. Somehow we are doing exercises at home, which are very cost effective. Else before the lockdown, as we know that we were traveling, we were into... Any question? Okay. Now, second objective of presentation will be that what are the different roles and responsibilities that the government is playing from PPP model point of view or from Ayush point of view. Just as we see, there is a separate ministry which is called now an education ministry, and there is human resource development earlier, which were known as, which are two parts, the youth development as well as the sports ministry, right? Khelo India is the key program which we all see these days running, and what are the various Atmanirbhar or self-reliant opportunities which are present in Khelo India. We'll be talking about that, the role of Ayush as well. Then what are the different career paths in physical education? Often we at the universities and colleges, especially where the professional courses are running, find it difficult to counsel the students, to tell them about the latest opportunities. And they themselves are sometimes misguided by their peers or maybe their seniors who are professional players. And they may not be professional players even if they are scientists or working in some organizations, or some leading entrepreneurs who are working in countries which are doing very well, working abroad or working in India. For example, Baba Ramdev, Sri Ravi Shankar ji, who are working very well in yoga, and they become self-reliant, self-dependent from revenue, from economic point of view. They generate a lot of revenue for themselves, for sustaining their institutions. So what are the different approaches? What are the best practices? We will talk about that. Next objective will be to understand what is the role of government and NGOs which are involved, like CII plus government, the Indian Yoga Association plus Healthcare Skill Sector Council, and what are the different qualification packages which are available these days that have been prepared in consultation with various non-government organizations and various other stakeholders that we need to know, we need to understand, so that we can understand and we can find the opportunities for us as the permanent employees of an institution, and as well as we can guide the students to be volunteer or to be the professionals in their respective fields, and how to choose those different specializations so that their career path is clear to them, that where they need to go and how they need to work there. And not only working for earning the money, but to see the non-tangible aspects of this healthcare industry or fitness industry. It is very important to understand the skills which are required in the present day. We are now focusing more and more on skill-oriented courses. For example, the person who has master's degree in physical education or master's degree in yoga tends to do a specialization in aerobics, Zumba dance, or become a yoga therapist, or become a diabetologist, or would like to do some internship work, or would like to move abroad and join some yoga institution itself, or teach some research paper or a paper which is complementary and supplementary to certain courses. a lot of courses. For example, in yoga and physical education, right from foundation courses to certificate courses, to diploma courses, advanced diploma courses. So there are a lot of opportunities which we will explore through this. And there are certain core skills. Some people call them life skills, but I would call them professional skills. You know, besides life skills, you need to have some basic professional skills that are required and that are already in place, you know, prepared by the NGOs, by the industries themselves in consultation with the government. We'll talk about that. So here are some of the opportunities, and we all are mostly aware of these opportunities as well. For example, in yoga and physical education, nowadays, Department of Science and Technology, there is a platform called Satyam, wherein you can get a lot of yoga related, science related projects. Although there is a preference to medical doctors who can collaborate with the non-government or government agencies where the physical educators or yoga instructors are working, yoga teachers are working, assistant professors or professors, because there are certain important invasive techniques that need to be taken up in taking up certain DST related projects. Second is the administrative officer. We call it sports management or yoga management. Communication skills to become an administrative officer or to become an event manager in physical education and yoga management programs. Here I would like to talk about running a particular center also. For example, you must have seen in physical education there are various centers of excellence. Similarly, in yoga there are various YCB certified yoga institutions, yoga training centers, and leading yoga training centers. So managing them, managing the profile of the people who are coming, managing the profiles of the faculty, managing the facilities, generating funds, all these are very challenging career opportunities that the administration has to take care of, and especially the challenging opportunities pertaining to the audits and objections and coming up to the expectations, minimum bare expectations of the authorities which have certified you or which are going to probably rank you, just as we see in the NAC ranking. You know, there are various universities, surprisingly, which have become A+. There are A grade universities in NAC ranking. All over the world also we see QCI rankings and various other rankings wherein the institutions are ranked according to their performance. And these parameters need to be taken care of. So all these administrative responsibilities are also equally challenging, and we need to have those skills. Besides other kind of career opportunities, just as you can see, the opportunities as aerobic instructor, as an assistant to medical doctors, as sports scientist, exercise physiologist or a sports psychologist, yoga or exercise therapist. Because nowadays the specialization is more, the focus is more into therapy related. Highly specialized exercise and yoga therapies are in demand, much in demand abroad as well. See, because from 2015 onwards, when International Yoga Day or Physical Education Day, or on 23rd June, as we know, we celebrate the International Olympic Day as well. People have become very aware. You know, each one has become a therapist on his or her own sense. You know, everybody starts advising you the moment you tell them your problem. So everybody is a yoga teacher now. everybody is a exercise teacher, everybody is a physical education teacher in some way or the other. Now we need to have specializations. Now the most challenging task is to bust the various myths, because whatever is available on the Google may not be authentic all the time. So as a professionals, as being sitting in the colleges, in the universities, being the curriculum makers, we must be able to understand that our role has become even more important. To show the correct path, to decipher the information which is available on the open platforms, on the internet, on the social media. So the requirement of specialized therapists, I'll talk in detail about this, what are the various opportunities for as exercise and yoga therapists in the further slides, in the next few slides. And the allied branches of yoga and physical education are naturopathy. See, unless and until we understand the role of Ayurveda and naturopathy, unless and until we understand the Shodhan and Shamana Kriyas, our own personality factors, our own DNA, RNA, we won't be able to understand the root cause of the problem. I mean, just gymming around and just consuming the nutritional supplements is not enough unless and until you know the root cause. So these yoga and naturopathy techniques actually make us more aware about our subtle systems, subtle body systems, the psychophysiological systems, in order to become much better professionals and therapists. See, because it is always a holistic approach. Whatever approach we apply, it is always a holistic approach. It has to be a holistic approach. Just as you can see in the national education policy also, it has been categorically mentioned that the approach should be always holistic, participative, and inclusive. So you need to be very careful about these aspects, which are very good in writing but very difficult to implement. When it comes to curriculum transaction, there are a lot of challenges which the teachers face. I'll be talking about that in the question answer session probably. Now, the career path I mentioned earlier is actually related to the person, you know, the moment induction starts, the moment we want to pursue a career in one particular thing. For example, I want to become a yoga therapist one fine day, or an exercise therapist. So I must have a certain base. You know, unlike the countries in Sweden or America, here people start after the graduation, after the master's degree. You know, what should I become now in order to be more and more professional, in order to face the interviews, in order to do justice to the industry, in order to just do justice to my job. So there has to be certain basic minimum bare foundation before we enter any profession. So the foundation courses, which are being primarily, I have seen these foundation courses and counseling for that is available in the yoga related courses. Very few foundation courses are available in physical education. If you agree with me, please correct me if I'm wrong. See, foundation courses are important for the people or the masses to engage them, to make them come up to a certain minimum standard so that they are able to think at that level to begin with. For example, people from commerce background, science background, arts background, people who are only 10th pass, 12th pass, or who are mere graduates, you know, they may not be able to understand to begin with a particular professional's career path if they want to become something. You know. So foundation courses are basically designed in order to orient and bring their level of thinking to that particular level wherein they can start becoming professionals. And then go on further to do certain specialized certificate courses. Right? After the foundation has been built, after you understand the subject, after you understand the objectives of that subject, after you understand the minimum bare skills required for that particular field of specialization, I would say. For example, you must have seen there are all induction programs going on, counseling programs for even the BTech students. You know. Even for the MBA students also there are induction and foundation courses which are going on, because when you go to do an MBA program, there are people from different disciplines who are coming to join the MBA programs. Similarly, in any professional program, you must have a minimum certification and a foundation. You don't become a certified instructor to take up the challenge immediately, but you are able to at least think and talk in that sense. That is the main objective of foundation certificate program. So we have to be very, very careful. And we, in these courses, there are certain small things like our role definition is also taught. It is not that if you are a yoga therapist, then you can take the place of an Ayurveda doctor or you become a medical specialist. You cannot just start prescribing certain medicines just because you have a certificate course or a foundation course in yoga therapy for that particular specialization. Maybe for diabetes, you cannot just tell them, okay, you use this, use that, and then you will become perfectly all right, unless and until you have understood the progression or the allostatic load of that particular client or patient of yours. The basic personality from Ayurveda point of view, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, you understand, unless and until you understand that, you cannot prescribe medicines. So I'll talk more about these role definitions and where we need to stop and where we need to start, because there is a lot of confusion in the market. Okay, I am a yoga instructor, so I can, prescribe Ayurveda medicines. Can I do that or not? And what should I know? In fact, should I be knowing basic anatomy and physiology of a human being in order to, give therapy, or should I be doing some kind of Marma Chikitsa additional course or a massager course or a massage course in order to give acupressure therapy or acupuncture therapies? So we have to be very careful. Besides knowing that, we cannot become a medical doctor. So these further specialized courses we all are aware, which are 3 years courses: Bachelor's of Physical Education, BSc Yoga Sciences, BA in Yoga Education, and Bachelor's degree in Yoga. See, these 3 different nomenclatures of various courses, just like in physical education, are also causing a lot of confusion. Whether I should do Bachelor of Science in Yoga and Naturopathy, whether I should do BSc in Yoga Education, or only BA in Yoga. So what is the difference between the various curriculums, and what is the approach to teaching these courses, and how I can become a professional after doing BSc Yoga Therapist or BSc Yoga Education course? Similarly, in Master's degree, what is the area of specialization I should take? Should I be taking the optional courses out of, for example, people are given the option to choose either one from 3 options. Like we had, either you choose sports biomechanics, or you choose sports psychology, or you can have a specialization in yoga. Various other options are also available, but people are given certain options to have a specialization, one particular major. That's what we call today, in today's parlance, if we say a major in particular area of specialization. Similarly, the therapeutic courses I have already told you, and the specialized courses, which are in-service programs, not pre-service. In-service means when you are actually in service in the industry. What are the various specializations which you can do, and which you think that yes, I should have additional knowledge in this. For example, who are professionals who are very good in exercise therapy may like to do a specialization in sports nutrition. In sports nutrition also, there are specializations with regard to therapeutic aspect, for rehabilitation purposes, and for merely rejuvenation purposes. So you need to have specialization in that. That depends. What are your clientele and what is your area of interest? And various opportunities are available in government and private schools, colleges, institutions, hospitals, the research centers, and the tourism industry, which is the biggest industry in India. And most of the countries are now focusing more and more towards tourism industry in terms of resorts, hotels, and spas. You must have seen it has become a multi-billionaire industry. And India has all the 5 seasons. India has minus 30-degree temperature, as well as India has a big coastline. So we can surely encash the benefits of these seasons. And there is a lot of scope. Now here are some other rules. I'll quickly go through it. As a consultant, as a freelancer, also there are various opportunities. For example, I've seen people working now with the Skill Council of India, working with CII, working with SOCHM, and whatever skills you are having. For example, if you have good analytical skills, if you know how to use big data and analyze the data, you can work as part-time consultant to various government and non-government agencies who would like to understand from you how they can improve upon their business by interpreting or by analyzing the customer psychology. You can become a board member. There are many people who are board members in the Ayush ministry, who are board members of the YCP, who are board members in the research boards, referral boards. For example, in Khelo India, and whenever there are Commonwealth Games or Asian Games or Olympic Games, you can become an organizing committee member, depending upon your abilities and capabilities. Similarly, the finance committees, project managers, because there are various projects, health-related projects, which are also being awarded by the government to the non-government organizations. So you can become a member, or you can take up yourself a particular project, just as I told you earlier regarding the Department of Science and Technology and various other Ayush Ministry scholarships are there. So you can become a principal investigating officer or a co-PIO. You can do internships. These days, internships are very much sought by the students who want to go abroad and settle and work in the agencies abroad. Social and community worker also is a good opportunity. You know, while traveling in a train, often I come across people, if I tell them that I'm a yoga teacher, then they start remembering their problems, their pains and aches, and they asking, probably sometimes they try to challenge me as well, that I have this problem, now this problem is cured, now next problem is this, so what should I do, what should I not do? And sometimes while you're telling them the problem or the cure, they themselves start teaching you in reverse. But anyways, you have to be knowledgeable in your area of specialization. Otherwise, let us learn to say, no, thank you, sir, I don't know about this particular aspect. But social and community workers are really an asset, because as you can see in Delhi, at least I can give you an example where in the Mohalla clinics, mostly the Ayurvedic doctors are doing a very good work, because they are able to take a holistic approach. And exercise therapists in working in the gyms, or whenever there is a demonstration somewhere, there is a display or a demonstration of Zumba dance or aerobics classes, that is also a community work, a social work, from doing it on a particular thematic day, for example, International Women's Day or Diabetics Day or Nutrition Week we are celebrating. So as a social or a community worker or as a volunteer, you can give your services there. They may not be paying you, but as a volunteer, but that can increase your presence in the field of your specialization. That can improve your availability and increase your visibility in that particular field. So that can also be a very good task. Besides giving you a lot of satisfaction that yes, I'm not sitting idle and wasting my time on social media, but I'm useful to the community and society as a volunteer or as a social worker. Similarly, yoga events, you must have seen, 21st of June has become a very, very big event, and there are a lot of roles and a lot of responsibilities that need to be assigned to people. If you can see that right from preparing the proposals to preparing the budget to organizing the coordinating with the people who are going to manage the chairs, the venue management, the prize distribution, or the ceremonies, or various other kind of functions which are performed, you can become a volunteer to that, and we call that event manager. You can play a role as an event manager as well. If you are trained enough, then perfectly all right. But by virtue of experience and training, that will be a much more better asset, because you are trained and then you are having a professional experience. A lot of learning takes place in these events, especially with regard to communication skills and interpersonal skills. You can develop problem solving and various other life skills you can develop in yourself. As a referee and an official in physical education, sports, and in yoga competitions and championships, You can be a service provider. You can just become a entrepreneur by saying that we will organize. Uh, we will organize this event for you. So you don't have to do anything on your behalf. We will act. You just have to provide us the logistics support. That's all. You can become a service provider. You can provide various facilities, equipment, and material also. Then there are yoga retreat managers, especially in north of India and in Kerala. I have seen there are a lot of yoga retreats. Yoga tourism is being encouraged a lot. People from abroad often come and get acquainted with our culture, and we get acquainted with their culture. So it's an intermix of various cultures, various people with each other, which is a very healthy, Vasudevaya Kutumbakam. This particular aspect is taken care of. Is realized through these yoga retreats, which are often organized in the form of yoga days. And as a yoga demonstrator also, you can work in television channels. Next is the driving force. I want to focus on why this healthcare sector industry is booming. And there is a lot of scope to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant in future as well. Because of our increasing population, there is no shortage of increasing population, and there is this huge, more than 40% young population which resides in India, which is in the age group of 15 to 40 years. This is the youth who are available with us. So we are a young nation as compared to the European countries, where most of the people have crossed 60 years of age, and their load on medical expenses, their load on non-communicable diseases has increased to a great extent. And that is why there is a huge scope for India, in providing the goods and services to treat the patients who are having some kind of, in terms of curative, preventive, and rehabilitative, and even palliative care. Whatever diseases, for example, multiple sclerosis or cancer-related diseases, which are not treatable by medicines, people often use medical tourism and visit India to get treated by naturopathy, by mud therapy, through Shatakarma, through Panchakarma. So the modern healthcare industry, we can easily say that it includes the three essential branches, which are services. We provide services. If we provide services, we provide good services. As you must have seen that when we travel from Delhi towards the north of India, there are a lot of dhabas, there are a lot of side vendors who are selling food products. But people prefer only those who are having more cleanliness, those who are having better services. So services sector is a very big thing which is going to come up very soon. And the product, what kind of product you are selling. India has been selling billions of dollars of yoga related mats, the Neti and Ayurveda products, over-the-counter medicines. As you must have seen, Patanjali products are selling like hotcakes, all over the counter, beauty medicines or the various other products. And also the finance. So these are the three very important healthcare industry aspects, essential branches, which are services, the products, and the finance. And they further can be divided into various other parts as well. Now, for a developing country like India, if we talk about India, the expenses in the management of diseases can be very, very disheartening, because we are also known as the diabetic capital. And we must understand the lifestyle disorders in India is putting a huge financial pressure to the growing economy of India. We must realize, because according to WHO report, it is estimated that the diseases of non-communicable nature kill 40 million people each year, equivalent to 70% of all the deaths globally. I mean, other than accidents and various other accidental injuries and deaths. Now, 17 million people die annually from a non-communicable disease before the age of 70, before reaching the age of 70 years. So the lifespan has increased, but it has decreased with regard to non-communicable disease. 87% of these deaths, because of the non-communicable are occurring in the low and middle income countries like India. And cardiovascular deaths are highest, with 17.7 million people dying of cardiovascular disease. Next biggest killer after cardiovascular is the cancer. After that comes the respiratory diseases. Respiratory diseases are very, very less killing. And then comes the diabetes. 1.6 million people are dying because of diabetes. So these are the four segments of diseases resulting in the 81% deaths due to non-communicable disease. So we must understand that these interdisciplinary categories of trained professionals and paraprofessionals are urgently required to meet the health needs of individuals and populations in India. That is why we have these agencies which have come up recently, like Healthcare Skill Council, whose office is in Delhi itself, but it works at the global level, at the much larger level. According to the American Council of Sports Medicine also, that surveys the various fitness industry experts, they are saying that body weight training is said to become the 5th biggest trend by 2022. And as you can see that we are not able to many a times afford heavy apparatus and take the memberships of various high-end gyms. But bodyweight training is going to become excellent method, and yoga and physical fitness does not depend on heavy equipment and expensive gyms. So we must understand that we are blessed with various cultures which are focusing on improving our health and immunity. For example, Kalaripattu in south of India is a great healer, not only at the physical level, but also at the psychological level. And it is probably, I have read somewhere, the oldest martial art. So we don't need beer yoga or goat yoga and other kind of yoga on wheels. Although the primary aim of these modified yoga forms is to earn money. But yes, it is not all bad, but 20% to 30% of the population is also getting the benefits. But by practicing the traditional methods of our yoga and physical exercises, which have originated in India itself, we can generate a lot of income. So income is not just in terms of doing business and not taking care of our health. That is also one of the primary reasons that income of the people have increased, but they have stopped doing exercises. So what is the use? We invented cars, and we invented the cycles for our own feasibility. But then we left the cycle. We started traveling by using our cars. And after that, back pain generated. And then again, the doctor told us, you start walking and start doing cycling. So we have full circle, After getting injured or after getting ill, we have come back to cycling and walking. So why not do that to begin with? Why to rely too much upon the luxuries which are available around us? Our dietary habits have taken a big setback. We are not able to eat on time, and we are often indulged because of a lot of meetings, because of a lot of sessions. We hesitate in carrying our food. How many of you are carrying your food to your workplace? I don't think more than 10% people are carrying. I often carry my tiffin to my place. I often carry my water also. I mean, this time it is now a foundation. Otherwise, also I was carrying. Then various lifestyle diseases which have come up. So there is a huge growth of this healthcare sector and the professionals' requirement because of these rapid urbanizations, as we see around us. And 2011 census itself says that CII report says that every 1 in 4 Indians will die of non-communicable diseases by the age of 70. As we can see today as well. So 2011 census also says 31.16% is the rate of growth. We call it compound annual growth rate of 1.20%, by which the non-communicable diseases are increasing day by day. So here is a small estimate of the earnings which are made by the individuals. I won't dwell too much upon this. You must be knowing about what are the different salary packages which these professionals are getting. So whenever we are starting our career, we may be starting as a trainer or an instructor, you know. But there is a difference between trainer, instructor, and a senior trainer. If we want to talk, if we talk about the physical education professional or a yoga instructor or a yoga teacher or a yoga therapist, I'll tell you in few slides, the next few slides, what is the difference and what are the various skills which are. See, if we compare this salary with the American salary, wherein minimum wages is 19.17 US dollars per hour, a person is actually earning 40,000 US dollars per year. And in near future, the yoga instructors who are working abroad, especially in America, the yoga instructors who are working, they are bound to increase by more than 30% in next 10 years. So there is a huge difference between the wages of the professionals in India and abroad as well. Probably this is the reason of brain drain. You know, many people are trying to settle abroad, and there is a requirement also because in countries like America, where these people were spending billions of dollars in buying over-the-counter nutritional supplements and medicines, the yoga has become a panacea for them because it has decreased their cost of medicine to a very great extent. And even Indians are not able to understand the power of exercise therapies and yoga therapies. So here are some of the duties and roles and responsibilities which a professional can do. So need not necessarily be very good demonstrator, or you may not be a very good player if you want to become a very good physical education professional. You may not be a very good yoga demonstrator. You may not have a lot of flexibility, but here are some of the roles which you can adopt in order to become a good professional. For example, you can go for designing courses and lesson plans. You can go for designing lesson plans. For example, NCERT is doing a very good work, and the state education boards also must be inviting you as professionals if you want to develop the lesson plans, if you want to develop the learning outcomes, the performance outcomes. The exemplars are developed by NCERT for the local schools, you know, for your district level schools and colleges and universities. So they pay good, you know, they may not be even if paying good, but you are doing good to the society. So designing the safe and comprehensive yoga programs, designing the interior designing, the insurance sector. So various other associated fields are also much in demand. So there was this yoga visa, which was started by the Indian government. So yoga visa means a visa which was a part of medical tourism itself. It was a student visa. You know, anybody can become a yoga student from abroad, come to India, they can learn yoga practices, and then they can go back. So we are so liberal that we trained many professionals who are now working successfully abroad. Although they have other skills also with them. For example, many people with the specialization in Chinese therapy called Qigong, they learned yoga as well. And they were fitness trainer already. So they have a combination of these three industries, these three specializations, and they are working as CrossFit trainers now. So it depends, you know. Now let us understand in very shortly. I think I have another 5 to 10 minutes, probably. You know. Can I go on for another 5 to 10 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, sir, you can continue.
After that, we can take up the questions.
Yes,
So let us understand and learn, especially this is for the physical education people, that let us learn from yoga professionals these days, because you know I can see from the paperwork and I can see from the various websites of the government of India how methodical and how competent the yoga field has become, at least on paper, you know. and naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. So it caters to all these forms of traditional Indian medicines, right? So earlier it was known as the Indian system of medicine, but now it has taken up this Ayush Ministry name from which was formed in 1995. And surprisingly, it has allowed 100% foreign direct investment into this sector, and we have around 62,000 herbal plants which are being planted in India, which are used by Patanjali and various other agencies like Dabur and other companies. Especially they are growing these medicinal plants, herbal plants, in the various regions, and the farmers are getting a lot of revenue they are earning because of this particular initiative of the government of India. And around the annual turnover has become around 12,000 crores Indian national rupees. So you can see this particular data here. And from in the education sector field, Ayush Ministry has done a wonderful task, and we have around more than 3,500 scholars, who are working full-time on full-time projects which are closely related to science and technology and agriculture related best practices. YouTube is also has become a very smart mirror. People are earning a lot of money through YouTube these days. By more and more viewership you have, more and more money you can earn through YouTube. So I was mentioning about Kroma Yoga. Kroma Yoga is actually nothing. It is a form of traditional yoga practices only. And since 2019, Kroma Yoga has grown up. It actually combines the yoga with light color therapy, sound frequencies, aroma therapies, for a more and better immersive and multi-sensory experience. So these studios, yoga studios are now slowly growing up to become Kroma Yoga therapy centers. Yoga therapy. Why? Because they try to target you from various aspects. People like good music, people like good smell, and they are fascinated by the color, the kind of ambience which is created in order to make you heal and improve upon your own. So there is a huge requirement in the healthcare management industry, but these are some of the 5 core skills which we must understand that every professional, no matter you belong to physical education, no matter you belong to yoga, whatever field, naturopathy or Ayurveda you belong to, you must have these skills. Just as we see in the medical doctors, when you go to a medical doctor, sometimes what happens is the moment doctor speaks to you, touches you, 50% of your problem is already resolved. So we must have these communication skills with us. The IT skills, understand, until we upgrade ourselves, upscale ourselves, unlike the European countries, in our country, people don't believe in upscaling themselves. Although, now there is a lot of awareness, but we waste a lot of time on social media rather than upgrading ourselves with regard to various IT related skills. For example, it's not just one social media which has come up as a telemedicine. Recently, the telemedicine has become big. The Digital India has been shown to be successful because of whatever presentation online webinars are being conducted. Earlier we used to spend lakhs of rupees in calling the resource persons. Now everybody can attend these webinars and international workshops at their respective places, at their own comfort zone. Self-management skills, entrepreneurship skills, and of course we must take care of our environment whenever we are becoming professionals. Unless and until we take and consider our ecosystem carefully, we cannot progress. We may progress, but then that progress will not be called holistic. So we must be able to take care of our environment as well whenever we are taking up any of the practices of becoming professionals. Here are some of the PPP models. I won't be focusing too much. I have spoken a little bit about them. But I wanted to actually tell you the difference between the job roles of a yoga instructor and a yoga teacher. So as you can see here on the top, there is this yoga instructor, right? Now this particular slide you can see is being prepared. I have taken this slide from the website of HSC only, where they have defined the job role of a yoga instructor. See, the person will be responsible to provide a range of basic yogic techniques, right? Agreed with the guests. So one thing is very clear, that it has to be a tailor-made program according to the need of the guests and in accordance with the approved sector standards. So there are certain minimum national occupational standards, or we also call them QPs, qualification packages, on the basis of which these minimum bare standards of performance and sequence of services are being provided. And just look at the qualification. So class 8 student who has passed class 8 can become a yoga instructor. So you can see the level of professionalism here. And an 18-year-old child can also become a yoga trainer. This is what the requirement by the government that has been prepared, right? You can go to the HSSC website and find out these minimum bare requirements. Now I want you to focus on the yoga instructor's role and what is compulsory. What are these minimum BWS N9005 requirements? As you can see, the BWS requirement, beauty and wellness sector. BWS means beauty and wellness sector. This sector is called beauty and wellness. Number one, you should be able to prepare and maintain the work area, right? So you have to be a worker, a healthcare worker as well, not just a yoga instructor. Second is you must have the skill to conduct basic yoga sessions. That's perfectly all right because you will be trained in this. Third skill, maintain health and safety at the workplace. So you must know basic first aid skills. The last one is create a positive impression at the workplace. So look at the problem solving approach skill, the decision making skill. You should have good interpersonal skill. You should have good communication skills. So these are the skills which I was talking in the earlier slides. So it is not just conducting a basic yoga session. It is that you should be able to work as a maintenance worker, as a healthcare worker, as a health and safety worker, and also you should have positive impression on the people who are coming as client to you in the industry in which you are working, or even if it is you are running your own center, right? So now let us see, compare these skills with the skills which are required by a yoga. This was yoga instructor and this is a yoga trainer, which is a more senior position, right? After you have yoga sessions. So earlier it was the basic yoga sessions and now the advanced yoga sessions you should be able to conduct. Hatha yoga sessions. So now here comes the specialization. Now you should be trained enough physically and also from knowledge point of view, from understanding point of view, you should be competent enough in Hatha yoga sessions to conduct these Hatha yoga sessions, which are more of physically demanding sessions. So you should be obviously more careful in maintaining a health and safety workplace and create this positive impression in the workplace. So look at these 1, 4 and 5. These are the skills which are mandatory for each level wherever you go. Besides these two sessions, these two type of skills which you should be able to do in a better way. So here they have divided the role also, that you should be a trained Bal Yoga session. You should be able to conduct the Bal Yoga training sessions, the Mahila Yoga training sessions, and also for the elderly you should be able to do. So these are the highly specialized requirement of the sector. Now here comes the third one. If you want to become a senior yoga trainer, how and what are the duties and responsibilities you should be able to do? So there is a minor difference, but yes, these differences do play an important role. in making you more and more competent. And you need to upscale and upgrade your skills all the time. So here is the beauty and wellness skill sector master trainer page number 190. If you Google it, you can reach there. The minimum requirements in order to give you the the tag of a master trainer. For example, if you want to work in a spa, if you want to work as a fitness industry, if you want to go to the yoga industry, and even if you want to become a makeup artist. So I won't be dwelling upon the makeup artist. I want to dwell basically on the fitness industry and the yoga industry. So now look at the challenge which physical education and yoga professionals will be facing. So you will be facing a challenge from the people who will be coming from bachelors of physiotherapy background. Please remember that these people are very good in anatomy, physiology, and physiology as compared to yoga and physical education professionals. But they may not be very good in other aspects of yoga and other aspects of physical education like classification, methodology, and other organizational skills. So there are advantages and disadvantages in every teacher training or professional training programs. But that is why there is a requirement of these minimum 2 specialty certifications in fitness, and also with 5 years of experience as a physiotherapist or a physical trainer. That is why I was focusing again and again that you must be merely possessing a bachelor's degree or a master's degree is not sufficient. You have to have that experience. You have to have those international certifications, specializations, as well as the experience. So that's it from my side. To conclude, I'm mentioning only the 3 things that please do not look as the opportunities to be merely earning money at all cost, because money is not everything. Try to see the work satisfaction also, because wherever and whatever you are doing, if you are not happy and satisfied with your performance, with your attitude, if you have very good working environment, don't just jump around for money's sake. That is the intangible benefits you should focus upon, besides focusing on the tangible aspects. Nobody is immature now. Please remember, you all are professionals. Even teaching is also not a service. I often say teaching has become a profession. Unless and until you are a very good teacher, you are nowhere. Nobody is going to ask you, no matter how qualified you are. So be a professional in every approach which you take. And please remember the marketing strategies. If you want to increase your presence, then be on the Facebook, but not always. Be on the YouTube, but not always. You must understand and explore that your presence can be increased through various other marketing strategies. So keep on learning besides earning. That is why the ministry, the UGC has made a provision that you can do a master's degree in yoga through correspondence, whereas master's degree from physical education cannot be done through correspondence. So you have this opportunity to earn and learn both. And there is a very big sector in yoga insurance abroad. I'm talking about America, wherein they are giving you insurance for doing yoga. They are saying that while doing yoga or exercise, if you get injured, then we can compensate that, or for that particular treatment, you can get that treatment, and then we will help you, provide you insurance for that, safeguarding your career and other things while doing or pursuing this as a career or while doing this particular task. So look at the professionalism that the marketing strategy which has come up. So thank you very much. If you have any queries, you are most welcome to talk to me on this email address, or please feel free to call me on my mobile number. Thank you very much. If you have any queries, you are most welcome.
Sir, thank you very much for your wonderful speech, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, after hearing your speech, sir, there is one small doubt. Actually, it is, what it is in every physical education teacher's mind it is. Sir, as we all know that even each and every individual has know their physical fitness and even their physical performance also. But somewhere in the government, do you think that they are neglected in the field of physical education?
I think, Jagdish ji, it is our perception that matters.
Yeah.
How do we perceive ourselves? And how do we, what others think about us is not important. What I am and what my area of specialization is, I should either improve upon and increasing my area of specialization, or I should talk about only my area of specialization. Now, that is why I said that it is important to understand our role definition wherever we go. If I am good in classroom teaching physical education at college level, then I should be able to do justice with that only. I should not try to become an exercise therapist. Unless and until I have those necessary minimum bare skills to do that. As far as neglecting is concerned, the policies are not the deciding factor. See, national education policy is not going to give us employment. It is a policy. It is the most important aspect is that what is the area in which I can excel and how the transaction of my knowledge, understanding and the applicability of my knowledge and understanding works. Now, why did you call me here for the webinar? Why not others? Because there are many other people who are more competent than me, but I was available. But I am available out of those 10 only. I am not available out of 1,000 people. So try to understand what I'm saying. What I mean to say is, unless and until we have a professional approach, we will always consider ourselves neglected. Okay. The opportunity comes, but it takes time. If you are a very good therapist, if you are a very good referee, if you know how to blow a whistle, if you are a very good basketball player, if you are a very good coach, then opportunity will find you. You don't have to find the opportunity. You will never feel neglected. Sir,
are there any problems in introducing in government level physical education as a compulsory subject even at the schools and college level, sir?
Sir, as per the national education policy, which has recently come up, there will be a sports department in every university. So this is what positivity I can see. But again, education and sports and health, these are all state subjects. It depends upon the states and the implementing agencies. And actually at the ground level, what exactly and how it is going to actually transpire. So we cannot predict. We can at least say that there is a positive approach now. And if we have good and competent people joining this sector, then definitely physical education is going to become compulsory. And by just making a subject compulsory, we cannot say that the profession will progress. It is the competence of the human beings that makes a profession great. So we lack competent coaches, and even female coaches are, for example, in physical education professionals are not even available, leave alone, giving opportunity to the girls. So women empowerment and inclusivity, these are the two very important factors. Why we, the physical education people, are not giving admission to physically challenged people? Our physical fitness tests are constructed in such a way that no physical handicapped child is allowed to join the BPEd and MPEd courses. We talk a lot about adapted physical education, whereas we are not able to do justice with our inclusive classroom situation. So we must evolve. We must improve upon our competencies. Is there any query? Is there any question from the other participants?
Participants can ask your questions. Please unmute yourself and ask your questions. Dear participants, if you have any questions, please ask your questions. Unmute yourself and ask the questions. Sir, I think there are no more questions. We can move on to presidential address. Over to Jagdish, sir.
Thank you, madam. Hello.
Sir, you are audible, sir.
Madam,
Please
am I audible?
continue. Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. Sir, firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Vikram Singh, sir, for giving very much informative and very much competitive speech. And on behalf of our college principal, ma'am, actually she is very much busy with her meeting and she will not able to be, proceed her presidential speech. So I'm taking her this one opportunity to take a presidential address. So firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Vikram Singh, sir, for giving his wonderful speech. As we all know, the physical education and yoga is very much essential nowadays, even to each and every individual of the country. Though knowing all these things, still we are neglecting our own area of physical education, and it is very actually, to say, it is very important and very essential to the each and every individual. After hearing our Vikram Singh's speech, we understood that the physical education, it is not neglected by ourselves. It is a competitive subject. It is one we should go forward to take this opportunity and to help the society and to help the needy. So in that way, Dr. Vikram Singh sir has enlightened our knowledge in an optimum level, and I would like to thank you, sir, once again for making yourself free and to give your valuable time to our webinar, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vidya, Assistant Professor of Commerce, GFGC Rajajinagar, Bangalore. I'm very delighted and honored to propose vote of thanks for this wonderful and informative session on role of yoga and physical education in making India Atmanirbhar. The word Atmanirbhar, a trending word coined by our Prime Minister during this difficult times of COVID-19 to instill hope in our hearts. Dr. Vikram Singh ji enlightened us all by giving information on how yoga and physical education is important in making India Atmanirbhar. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for making time in your busy schedule to deliver this useful technical session, which was of very great help to all of us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Further thank all the participants for making this program a huge success. I thank our beloved principal, Dr. Vanajakshi Madam, and Srimati Purnima Madam, IQAC Coordinator, for taking this initiative of organizing webinar. I thank Jagdish Iyer Sir, Physical Education Director, for making this webinar a success. I further thank Vasanta Kumari Madam for extending technical support. There is one small information and a very important information to all the participants regarding feedback form. The link to feedback form will be sent to participants within 3 to 4 days to WhatsApp group and email. And I request all participants to not leave and exit the group till the completion of feedback form and obtaining your certificates. Thank you one and all. Thank you once again. Jai Hind.
Thank you once again for all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.